we've got some official Spider-Man news to talk about. Welcome back to the channel. Sony Pictures had a panel at CinemaCon giving us some Spider-Man news to talk about regarding Brand New Day and Beyond the Spiderverse. First of all, let's talk about some of the Brand New Day news we got. We officially got posters for the movie about damn time, and they are giving off some Sam Raimi vibes. At least that's the vibes I got, and I just think that they look absolutely beautiful, except that this poster with the hand looks a little off, but you know, that's fine because the other poster is absolutely stunning. But with that being said, a clip was shown at attendees only. Now before we get into this clip, I want to give credit to New Rockstars. I am going to be reading their tweets and their descriptions of these clips. So, the clip begins with Peter seeing Ned in the bodega. Peter hangs up from the phone and watches as Ned buys 2 mini kegs of Green Jackal beer. Peter follows Ned across the street into an apartment party. In the party, no one knows who Peter is, but a stranger gives him a beer cup. Now, this scene actually we are quite familiar with from the trailers. We've seen a bit of this already, but now we have a lot more context. Anyways, moving on. Peter goes into Ned's room and finds his Chewbacca Lego figurine. On Ned's research wall, there are headlines about a parkour prodigy and a skyscraper squatter arrested for the 8th time. Peter meets Ned, who tells him about a spider tracker app that he invented to help him track down the identity of Spider-Man. Ned says he narrowed it down to 2 people, Flash Thompson and Mr. Harrington. Very, very interesting. Then Zendaya as MJ comes in and makes her friendly neighbor comment from the trailer. We find out that MJ has a new boyfriend. Just like in the trailer, Peter sadly watches them kiss. Very similar to what we saw in the trailer. But this is a very neat detail here. Or should I say important detail. Ned asks MJ about a job she interviewed for. She got the job, but she turned it down. Apparently she calls it a soulless corporation. Now, let's discuss a bit about the clip because I have some theories regarding it. So the question some of you might have is, why is Ned trying to figure out who Spider-Man is? Now, it is clear that MJ and Ned remember that they had a connection with Spider-Man in some way. They just don't really remember who Peter Parker is. Now, it does get a little confusing, but hear me out. I believe they have this trippy feeling that they know who Spider-Man is, but at the same time they don't. I think this confusion with Spider-Man leads them to wanting answers, wanting to know why they feel like this towards Spider-Man. And I think that could really lead into this very interesting dynamic between Peter and Ned and MJ. Now, in terms of this soulless corporation line, New Rockstars believes that this could be a reference to Oscorp. Now, it would make sense. However, in No Way Home we learn Oscorp doesn't actually exist in the MCU. So what if this corporation is ran by a man called, well, Norman Osborn? However, later down the line, this corporation is renamed to Oscorp. For now, it's not called Oscorp. You know, like, perchance this corporation isn't that big yet. It's not as big as it is in the comics and stuff like that, but maybe it gets bigger throughout this trilogy. As much as people might, like, hate this, only way to make this work is to tie it to Stark Industries. Perhaps this corporation, when it becomes Oscorp, it starts to get bigger than Stark Industries, therefore making Norman Osborn a much bigger name in the public in the MCU. Which, in my opinion, would actually be kind of cool, especially since Peter has already met a Norman Osborn who went completely insane. I can see this playing out pretty well. Now, on to Beyond the Spider-Verse, they gave us these brand new stills of the movie, which looks absolutely incredible. My god, this movie here looks so cool. We are in for a treat. Now, for attendees only, they showed a clip of the movie, the opening scene to be exact. The scene picks up where the second film left off, with Miles stranded in Earth 42. This scene, Earth 42 Prowler Miles mocks 1610 Miles, so confusing, for not saying Morales with a proper accent. Miles tries to explain to Prowler Miles and Earth 42 Aaron what canon events are and how his dad in the other dimension might die. Since Prowler Miles had accidentally electrified Miles, Miles says, "Don't watch the mouth, watch the hands," which is a clear reference to the first Spider-Verse movie when Miles captures Peter, and then he uses the charge to release his chains, which we also see his skeleton ignite the zap, followed by an intense montage that showed all the returning characters from across the Spider-Verse in an epic battle against the Spot and Miguel O'Hara. And Kingpin also made an appearance in this montage. Now, there isn't much else to really say about this clip, but these stills that we got, it looks like we're gonna get a ton of backstory and flashbacks regarding Miles' dad. This obviously makes a lot of sense. He's very important to the plot, and this is probably just gonna get us more emotionally invested into the movie and make us care more about what is happening. Though it is very interesting that we're gonna have Kingpin back. I'm assuming that they're bringing him back to really close off this trilogy, since he was the main villain of the first movie and he never really got killed. He probably is just in prison somewhere, so him coming back isn't too crazy. But I'm so ready for this movie. I absolutely adore the Spider-Verse films, and I think this is going to be a huge movie, and I hope it sticks the landing. Now, that's all the news we got regarding Spider-Man at CinemaCon. The event is not over, however. There is many more panels to go later this week. Hopefully we get some DC stuff tomorrow for Warner Brothers. Perhaps we get a little bit more details on Supergirl, and maybe we finally get our first look at Clayface, since that's been a very interesting movie for me so far, and I will cover it if there's enough to talk about. I really hope we do get a Clayface trailer online, but not that likely. Not too sure what we could see at the Universal panel on Wednesday, to be honest. There's nothing really I can think of on top of my head. Thursday is a big one, as both Paramount and Disney will be having their panels. Paramount might be given some Sonic 4 news, even though it's not that likely. I see a world where it does happen, and I'll be sure to cover that. And perhaps we're gonna get some news on Mutant Mayhem 2. Maybe they'll give us casting news on who is voicing Shredder. I would really love that. But for Disney, it's been confirmed we are getting Doomsday news of some kind at the event, and I will 100% make a video on that. I assume that they will give a trailer to attendees only, but I really hope that for us at home, we get some kind of first look at Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, since all we have is just these leaked promo art of him. We don't have a full official marketing piece of RDJ as Doom. Perhaps they give us a clip or some kind of behind the scenes, maybe do it a bit like how Matt Reeves revealed the Batman suit, something like that, since that is the thing people are most interested in, is seeing Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. So I really think they should give us a first look at Doom online and drop some kind of trailer for attendees only. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to cover more CinemaCon news. See you all next time. Goodbye.